Community Service Committee meeting is called to order. Sam, will you give an invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for bringing each and every one here, Lord. We thank you. Just ask you to guide this meeting, Lord. Guide our hearts, guide our voices, Lord. Ask that we do things pleasing to you, Lord. That all things that are talked about here or decided here that are pleasing into your eyes, Lord, and that they go to the betterment of our tribe and our people, Lord. And we thank you for this day, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Josh, appreciate that. Shelley, can you give a roll call, please?
Darrell Legg,
Here.
Melvina Shotpouch, Keith Austin, Danny Callison, Julia Coates, Sean Crittenden, Joe Deere, Mike Dobbins, Rex Jordan, Johnny Kidwell, Weston O'Fire, Dora Petskowski, Joshua Sam, Mike Shambaugh, E.O. Smith, Kendessa Teehee, Victoria Vasquez. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Shelley. If you had a chance for, what was that? Is that a light bulb?
Registration hasn't started yet.
Wow. We need to recess for a second, or we got it? All right, all right. Can I get a approval minutes, please? Second, all in favor? All right. Let's start this with reports, and we have Jennifer Kirby, Human Services Department.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
I'd first like to start out and introduce, which many of you have probably met her previously or had the good fortune to work with her. She's been with the tribe for nearly 30 years. She's our Deputy Executive Director of Human Services. I'm very lucky to have her on our team, and I'd like to introduce Leah Duncan to everyone. So.
She says,
Yes, she doesn't have to give a speech or anything unless you guys have some questions. But, there'll be some changes on our contact sheets coming for the next report. We've had a few changes within the department, so I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that she's on our leadership team now in Human Services, so.
now, Jennifer, do we call her instead of you?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, be sure and get her cell phone number after.
I don't have a cell phone yet.
Right. Leah, were you already in Human Services and just
Yes.
promoted? Okay.
I've been in food distribution
Yeah.
and child care and development.
Yeah, okay, all right. Awesome. You have a report you want to give, or do you want to?
If there's any questions.
Okay, is there any questions? All right, Josh.
Thank you. The Coke voucher, I know that's kind of been a broken record going just constantly. I know y'all are working as hard as you can. I know me and Sean, we had some conversations on, is there anything we can do to, like, next year, improve that process? I mean, I'm not sure if we've always done it the same way, but is it possible to get with some vendors and just get a bunch of coats and have them to come locations and have the kids try them on and pick them and go? Or that might be too much?
I think that, anytime the community gets involved, is good for, the citizens. But I just think that as we continue to do the portal, because that's where we're headed. I was actually just talking to Counselor Smith just a minute ago about making sure, you know, they can keep up with those passwords, the emails, and just know to check that, and just getting more proficient in that process. Now, we can get better on our timing, and believe me, we are. We're getting better. We have some hopes of expanding, you know, staff that know how to approve and know how to access the portal on our side, but we actually, about half of them have gone out. I actually signed some uploads today, that the other portion will be going out this week. So that should be the largest chunk of them right there. I believe it was close to 2,800 payments. So that's probably a lot of the ones on there that you guys have been talking to and that are still wondering where their stuff is. So, we actually did it this year a lot quicker than we did last year, if that makes a difference. I mean, I really do. I mean, I feel like we're getting better. I just think we, along with Paula Starr and her team and IT, we're working on our timing more, so that we get the word out. We all work together quicker to.
And I also think that maybe for back to school, open it up in May, run it till end of June, and everything get processed, and then by the time August gets here,
Yeah.
you know, then go to the coat thing, and then by the time it's November, we can start sending out the vouchers for the coats before it gets real cold in December.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a great idea too.
Yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate Human Services, because that's one of the top departments I deal with. I'd just kind of add with Josh and, you know, our backpack programs around the community, you know, they're pretty successful, you know, in the communities, and the coats, you know, I don't even know how much are the coat vouchers, like 50 or 75?
They're 75 this year, so we did increase from last year,
Okay.
by $25,
Now,
yeah.
the clothing voucher, that's a little bit more, or it has been, hasn't it? But you know, I'll support whatever you guys do, but just, my thoughts were like the backpack program. They all come, and I mean, they come by the droves,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, a coat is, I wouldn't put that totally off the table. It's something like Josh is saying, just a bunch of coats, small, medium, large, get you one, and, you know, because the backpack program works so well. And here's another harebrained thought. Could we, just so we have one time for this, a Doogie portal, could we just add that coat money to the clothing money, and it all be done for sure by winter? And just add that 75 and go buy you a coat. This includes your coat now.
Right.
And that way, there wouldn't be two separate things. And this is not your fault. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. But it is kind of getting kind of crunch time for the winter time.
Right.
But
I just think it's kind of hard to find a coat in the summertime whenever you kind of would have to separate them unless everybody be disciplined enough to save that 75, you know, for a couple of months. But I like that idea.
that's a good point, and that is a real good point. But I think, I don't know, I just think that'd be a pretty good idea. Just do it one time, and it's, we're trusting them to buy clothes and coats with it anyway. We trust them to kind of rat hole that a little bit. Anyway, that's my thoughts, and I just appreciate old Josh. He's been scratching his head on that for quite a while. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, you know, also look at it like this is, you know, if you, and this is just my thoughts, if you buy coats all the same, they look the same, you're kind of, you're maybe taking away a little bit of that person's maybe dignity, or at least their ability to be able to go pick out something that they want that they might not otherwise be able to do. However, you know, there's nothing wrong with having two coats. You know, if like a community group wanted to do something, there's nothing wrong with having two, because, you know, young people tear things up. I mean, you know, get out there, and is that the only coat they're going to have the whole winter? So, I mean, just some other things to think about of just other ways, but we are getting better. I know it might, might not seem like when you get all these calls and we're, might not getting them out fast enough. We are getting quicker and we are getting better at it, so.
Hey, as long as you answer that phone when I call, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaker?
Yeah, if you look back, when, what you guys first started out doing, when you first started giving away money and we didn't have the portal and you had to do it by hand. And that was insane, 40-some thousand people to do by hand with workers. And, then you've got the Gadugi portal and now you seem to learn, we've learned from our mistakes. And I won't say mistakes, but maybe from our shortcomings that we just didn't know we needed. But you're getting to the point now where you are improving. And I think that as departments, that's what we want to see. And, you've taken it upon yourselves to try to be more efficient. And that's what we need. As a whole nation, we need to try to get better in the things that we do. And we have to be honest enough to say, hey, look, maybe this didn't work out the way we wanted to. What can we do to make it better? And I think you have done that. So I just want to say hats off. I mean, you got a big job. I mean, you look at all the programs that you do and the people that you served, it's huge. And you guys are doing a good job, and you are changing. You are trying to make things better. So I just want to say hats off. It's a good job.
Thank you. And anytime you guys get any chance to thank the staff, we couldn't do it without them. They're the boots on the ground. They're the frontline workers. And, just put it in perspective, we had over 9,000 utility assistance applications this year, or last year. We had over 6,000 coat assistance applications that got kind of filtered down to over 4,000. So you look at that upon people we have coming into our offices, you're right, that is, and we appreciate you acknowledging that, you guys see that, and I think staff will be very appreciative.
Even the food distribution, the people that you serve in that, and what you have to do to keep people safe during COVID. You have to sit in your car. I mean, there's people that got upset about waiting, but gosh, there wasn't hardly anything you could do about it because you can only allow so many in, and getting more staff in our food distributions I mean, there's just so many things that you guys have done, and your department is so big and it encompasses so much. It's really difficult, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where does the funds come from for the code? Is that a tribal dollars or is that a federal program that y'all use?
Tribal,
It's tribal?
yeah.
Okay. Dr. Teehee?
Well, I appreciate the robust discussion on the coat, the application for the coat drive. And I've had a couple of citizens make a request with the application for assistance for coats for tax-free weekend. To try and hit tax-free weekend with those vouchers. And I know we are still talking about, August, when we're talking about, trying to hit the tax-free weekend. And that may be a little bit early for, coat shopping. But, since that was something that some of my citizens did bring to my attention, I wanted to go ahead and, to mention that during this discussion because, when it comes to the price of everything these days, it's going up and up. So even a little bit, saving a little bit on those taxes could really help some folks.
Yeah, and we've actually had that discussion about just making sure that we get the timing right to get the largest majority of those out before tax-free weekend because, there's still a handful that we require further information or there might be some questions about on the application that we need to get clarified. But for the most part, the largest group of them will be going out and to do that before tax-free weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I appreciate everything that Human Services does. I know it is, you help citizens with incredible need. In some cases that are, facing crises in their life that are very significant. So I appreciate everything that you and your staff do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Jennifer, we appreciate you so much. Leah, good seeing you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Michael Lynn, Department of Transportation Infrastructure. And we got Andy, the better-looking version of Michael.
Michael's unavailable today, so. You're gonna deal with me, I guess. You have his report. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions for Andy?
Yes, sir?
Have you had any visitation with the boys down on Dwight Mission Road?
Yes. Matter of fact, my construction manager, Barry Hood, drove through there last week. The progress has exemplified. It's huge. They're just about done. It looks so much better, and they're gonna probably be out of there shortly. So somebody rattled enough cages and they got busy.
Good deal.
So it should be looking better.
Well, I appreciate y'all's help on that, and there's even a bunch of gates up that we're missing, so.
Yeah,
so
well, I appreciate you and looking into it and having your support to encourage them to finish up sure helps us a lot when we have your support. And we'll stay on them. I know the state's on them too, so hopefully it'll get done as soon as it can.
Joe?
Hey, Tone. Hey, have you ran into, because I know concrete went up again, it's like at 150 a yard. Are you having any issues with the estimates and bids that have went out? How are we figuring out that supplemental? Are you allowing COs or
Well-
what are we doing on those?
Right now, everything that's done was bid out when the prices weren't so low. The new bids that have come in, like Delaware South that we're doing, Indian Road, they bid out, the concrete bids were extremely higher, so I think they're covered. We don't do, well, the only time we would do a change order on concrete is if it was just astronomically crazy and they couldn't afford it. But they've been figuring that in their bid really good, so we haven't had to adjust that.
And is the engineer's estimate comparative to that? Is it showing that?
It has been, yeah, we've gone back, when prices went up after COVID and they started to increase, those engineers' estimates that we had sitting there to bid, we went back and readjusted those to include those prices, those increased prices. Of course, the asphalt index takes care of itself.
Right.
It will always be that way, but concrete, and of course, you have just regular supplies, fencing supplies, everything's gone up, so the engineers have gone in there and adjusted those estimates so they wouldn't be such a difference.
Is there a point where, the concrete versus asphalt comparative, do you leave it as an alternate still? Where they
Well-
could flip it if that price gets above the asphalt price?
We could, but we don't, because that's the way it's bid out. It's bid out in asphalt. If they bid it at concrete and asphalt was way cheaper, that's just the way they bid it. I don't like doing that because it's a huge change order.
Yep.
And it's a lot of figures. You have to get your engineers back involved and all that. Plus, if the engineer designs it for asphalt, then that's the way it needs to be.
Okay, and did we solve the plus or minus bids 5,000 on a project? If they get it done earlier, it's 5,000 to them. The other way, did we solve those problems about the holidays and letting the contractors know? Because if you do that, they need to be able to work 24/7, and that way you don't get pinged for time on the end of a job.
In those contracts, even though it is a incentive-decentive, we put in our contracts, certain amount they get per day, they finish early, then they're penalized if they finish late. But when they do that contract, the holidays are figured in there. All the holidays, Cherokee Nation holidays, a contractor's not allowed to work, but that's figured in the incentive-decentive.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that's taken care of.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because that question's come up a lot, especially with drywall,
Right.
different things we've talked
Yeah.
about. So I was wanting to make sure that hadn't put a hold on some of those contracts.
Right. And no, it hasn't, and we allow them as work, like Saturdays and late. If they want to work late, we don't tell them they can only work 8 hours a day. They work as many hours as they can. It's just Sundays and all holidays. If something happened and we were behind the 8 ball, they would have to make a formal request to work that holiday and that, on that Sunday if they wanted to. It puts a burden on us because I have to have an inspector here, my lab guys have to be there, so that's overtime and double time when it's on a holiday. So we'll take all that in consideration, but we wouldn't tell them completely no, but it would have to be pretty justifiable.
Okay, and also, some of the contracts, like a GC with drywall, I've heard they're now having contractors, because the GC bid it, but they're slowing the project down because they don't have the liquid cash to be able to get the drywall, so they're trying to push it onto the subs, which is gonna lead to a problem of the subs having to maintain the drywall cost and then wait for the GC to get paid. So it's really gonna hurt the subs when they do that.
Yeah.
So,
Which I could imagine it would, but in our roads construction and bridge construction jobs, that's between the contractor
the
and the
GC
sub.
and them, yeah.
Yeah, in the past, they've tried to drag us into that argument, but we don't have a contract with the subs. We have to negotiate and visit with the contractor himself. He picks his subs, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have a contract with the subs. So whatever happens, if we have to and there's a big discrepancy, we'll get in and try to help. But I don't like to get involved in that because we don't have any control over those subs and who they hire.
And the reason why I say that, because it's gonna be based on time. If they hold us up as a GC,
Right.
then we find out what that reason is, why they hold it up. Because they, if they're GC and they can't liquidate it, then I think some of those GCs don't need to be bidding these jobs.
Exactly.
So that's a concern I have. I mean, because we do have, 75 construction jobs? There's a bunch of jobs going on, bridges and stuff like that.
Yep.
Especially with the rebar tying and all that, so,
It's,
all right.
supply's an issue.
Yeah, there's a lot, so that's all I have. Thank you. You guys do great. You and Mike just are all over it, so that's good. I mean, we had those talks, but thank you, Chair.
You bet, you bet.
we've
Andy, on a lighter note, of course, Speaker Shambaugh's place, I was up Chimney Rock Road the other day, and what a marvelous road that has been put down with you guys' supervision and getting through. I believe it's a federal road, but it came in at, over $2 million more than what it was initially thought, or?
Yes, and there were some liquidated damages to that contractor for not being able to finish on time, but he that was unfortunate, but most of it wasn't our problem, wasn't due to us, so, that job did turn out great. They had a lot of challenges, and they were right in the middle of COVID during that, so they did a great job of getting it finished. They're the ones that have DeLonaghy South that were bid that, so they'll be working on that job, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's a contractor we can trust and not have to worry too much about, and they'll get it done, but it turned out really well. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for Randy? If not,
Thank you, guys,
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Next up, Housing Services, Jerry Killer. And Todd Enlow. Yeah. Who's the Todd guy?
I thought I was support staff today, but
Yeah.
I guess I'll take this. So good afternoon, everyone. Todd Enlow, new Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the Cherokee Nations, here with me today. If anyone has any questions, here I one will answer them. Probably me.
Oh, one question, who do we call? No. So Todd, I spoke with you and you said there was going to be kind of an order of operation of how things are going to work. Is that something you want to present now, or do you want to wait until something else, is it done?
It's not done yet.
Okay.
Working on a solution. So in the
Gotcha.
first 48 hours of working with Jerry, I saw how many text messages, phone calls, emails
Yeah.
she got regarding applications or status of repairs or replacement homes. And it's a lot. And just watching her as a third party coming in and the effort she was going through just to try and make sure that she was getting the most accurate information to get back to you as the council members or back to the chief or deputy chief if they had questions. It's a full-time job just doing that. And it was taking a lot of her time away from being strategic about figuring out where we're going to put the next housing subdivision or how do we streamline processes to help more people. And so that's one of the things I want to try and help. And so we've got a application that we're testing right now so that a centralized email, a centralized text message can come in. We can have multiple people work on it, and we make sure that it gets answered. So my fear is if you email or text message me directly or Jerry directly and she or I get really busy and we drop the ball and it gets lost in the shuffle. I want to make sure that we're responsive to the council members and we've got people that are working on it in tandem, and that way we make sure that we get answers back to you and it's accurate and timely. So that's what we're working on right now and our IT group put together a solution. So you'll be able to text message or email or call a centralized number so that several of us can work on it and we make sure we get you an answer back quickly.
Great, great. We have any questions for? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, Todd, we talked about this. I was going to have you just clarify what we talked about the HRs. Because we were getting calls about how your HR is not the same as Samantha's and for the housing jobs, and just to let people know, because a lot of people were going to Samantha about some of your jobs that were posted. So if you would just clarify that for whoever's listening, for those people.
Yeah, so Housing Authority has its own HR processes, being a state chartered entity that is separate. We share a common website for procurements and things like that to let citizens know. But to apply for a job is different, and there's individuals that handle and route those questions, make selections, schedule drug testing. It's a different group. I will tell you, like the messages that are coming into Jerry, one of the things I've found so far is everything that we do at the Housing Authority is paper-based. So you fill out a paper application for employment, you fill out a paper application for rental assistance, you fill out a paper application for homeowners assistance, you fill out a paper application for everything. We're already trying to figure out ways to look at online applications for those resources. That is one of the things I want to get done quickly. So you can imagine if we had 3,000 people apply for a job and they're all paper, somebody's got to read through those, sort them, filter them, make sure that they're qualified applicants, get them routed for the hiring manager to review. And so I want to make sure we're as efficient as we possibly can be. We'll still accept paper applications and import those into the system, but we want to use the technology and the resources we have with the greatest efficiency we can. So hopefully that'll help alleviate some of those concerns. And much like the strides that HR team here at Cherokee Nation has made of trying to communicate more with applicants and keep them up to date, I hope to do the same thing with the processes there. And I'm going to be making some phone calls to Samantha Hendricks. So Samantha, you're well warned. I'm going to make a phone call to you.
And the reason for that question was when I had talked to Todd, they had housing jobs set up there for, I think it was inspectors.
Correct.
And they were calling Samantha because they hadn't heard back from housing. And Samantha was not aware of that job, what they were talking about, and it went through Jerry and Todd. And so they were literally calling the wrong people to get back to. They were not aware that there was two different HRs.
Gotcha.
So that would, because I was taking a lot of Samantha's time. She's already busy. And I think if we let people know that there is literally two HRs when it comes to housing, that will stop a lot of calls and save Samantha. She can get back to what she needs to do, so. But thanks, Todd, Jerry, for clearing that. You guys do a great job. So that's all I had, Chair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Crittenden.
So our email questions, just both of you?
Yeah, continue what you're doing now. You can email either one of us. And once we get that system tested out and make sure it's proven, we'll let you know what that will be but we want to test it out and make sure it's going to
Just
work.
both of you? Go ahead and
Yep.
put you both on there. And
Yep.
Just where credit's due, all of those emails and questions that were coming in, Jerry, you were very timely and answered them in a very timely fashion. So I gotta say thank you. Now you got this good man, both of you on it. I can't imagine the good that's gonna come out of this. So, but thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good comments. Jerry, you always have answered the phone, called back. Probably not as fast as I could possibly imagine. You doing it whenever I got people going, have you heard anything? But you always got back with me on every issue, and I appreciate you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions, Speaker?
Just a couple comments. Appreciate you getting back with me the other day on both of those calls. And yeah, Jerry, you're kind of like human services a bit. You get a lot of fingers out there in a lot of different directions, and it's a ton of work. And, that's maybe something that, if we're struggling in some areas, we might have to look at some type of situation, especially if you get to be very successful at this, is at the new stuff. We might need to look at something like this for other places that we struggle in. So, but would like to talk to you guys afterwards if you have just a few minutes. I need to give you an update on something that I found out today, but it's a big job. And, the after-hour stuff, I mean, that's a great program, and, I hope we can keep doing things like that have been successful and just expand. I know I have all the confidence in the world. You both are very smart people. You're going to figure it out. So thank you in advance. So thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hey, I appreciate y'all both coming in. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. With the Veteran Center, we have Barbara Foreman.
With me.
Hey, before we start, could you
Recognize the speaker real fast.
just let everybody know that Todd's phone number is the same as his old one? Because we've been getting a lot of people ask me, it's the same as his old phone, if you don't have it, so could you
He's
make that
also on
available to
Twitter,
Gail?
Instagram, and Facebook Messenger.
So if we could make sure that Gail maybe reissues that out to everybody, if you don't have it.
Thank you for that, speaker.
Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon.
You have our report. Do you have any questions? I've got a few things to report to you. Extra.
Any questions? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Okay. So we've got our Valentine's for Veterans kicked off. Our deadline is going to be February the 9th. And I know it's a kind of a short time period, but we have to get those in-house so we can get them delivered before the 14th. And we have staff kind of running, all different directions delivering those. So that's our reasoning for that. We also have a couple of new things that I want to throw out to you that we now have a tribal veteran service officer again at the Veterans Center. And we haven't had one since Rogan Noble days, and that's been a long, long time past. So her name is Kimberly Stroman. And so that means to us, to all of us, that we can refer our veterans to our Veterans Center, and they can get their claims done there now.
Oh, wow. That's great. That is great.
And so another thing that I need to throw out also is we received a new grant, and it's called the SSG Fox SPGP. And we just hired our new program manager. Her name is Christy Woodard. And the Fox grant is a suicide prevention grant. And so we've received the $750,000 for 3 years, and we will hire 5 more people in that program, and you will see them everywhere out in your community.
Oh, wow.
And please, we all know that the suicide rate is very, very high in veterans. So if you have anyone to refer to us, please give them our phone number. And we're going to go with our main phone number, which is the 918-772-4166. But we're kicking that off, and we're so very proud of these 2 new things. We're expanding more employees at the Veterans Center. So we're very proud of that. And also, our Christmas event that we had over 300 people in attendance to that event. And so it was very successful, and our veterans were very happy with it. And so that's all I have. Have anything else that you need to add?
Barbara, if you will, once you're ready, make a social media post and share it with us so that we can all share it with our constituents on social media as well
Okay.
for that phone
Yeah,
number.
Communications has visited
Good.
with us already with the staff.
Good.
And so that should be coming out pretty soon.
Thank y'all. Are they all going to be housed at the Veterans Center?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome.
We're hoping to be kind of like a one-stop, shop there.
That'd be great. Councilman Deere.
Hey, Barbara, I met with the National Guard the other day. We had a meeting over there with the Cherokee groups in Tulsa. And I'm gonna be sending you an email, and I'll send it to admin too, and the art. What they are, they have a F-16, and sort of like we did the USS ships with the naming, what they're wanting to get together is have Cherokee Nation, and I'll just sort of hand it to you, and you take it however you want to. The back of the tail, they want to have an art drawn by a Cherokee artist with a naming on the back of the F-16.
Great.
And so they have one, and I'm not an Army vet or anything like that. Whatever their leader is over all the fighter pilots is the one that has asked for that, and he is stationed in Tulsa. So I will send you that name, and they want to have some kind of, if you have something specific you want on there, or they said if you want to do a contest, either way, they're open to it. They would just like to have one done so they can get it on there. And then they would have a ceremony after it's completed. So, just a little FYI, I thought that was a pretty cool, interesting thing that they reached out to do that, so.
Thank you, Councilman Deere.
All right, thank you guys for your guys. Appreciate it, Chair.
Any more questions? If not, thank you all both. Appreciate you. Good to see y'all again. All right. Old business, done pending, new business, done pending. Any announcements? If not, can I have a motion? Oh, go, sorry, Speaker.
Real quick, Samantha Hendricks from HR has requested to know if there's any councilman here who would like to have a meeting. If you have HR questions or concerns, she would like to set up a meeting. Is that something that we as, of course, we'd split it up, but we as a group, you would like to do? Yeah, okay. Well, Gail's gonna get back with her. She had requested tomorrow and like Thursday, but that's too quick. So we're gonna get a couple new dates. We'll get that in front of you all, and we'll figure out when we want to do that. But I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Chair.
Motion
To
to
you.
adjourn.
No, wait, Sean's got something.
Go ahead.
Just, not anything, life or death, but on that meeting, one consideration would be when we have rules and executive finance where if you're taking off for work, you can just hit all those meetings at one time, but do what's best for the whole group. Either way would be fine with me. Thank you.
And that might be something to think about is before
Yeah.
rules. We might be able to do that, so, or after, whatever. Before would be better. So, well, okay, good idea.
Good idea.
Thanks, Chair.
All right. Can I have a motion? Motion. Second. All in favor? All right. Meeting adjourned.